You've been so good and you keep on blessing me. Everything that I have, everything that I am, every blessing you see. Oh Lord, now just showered on me. You let it rain on me.
Hey everybody.
Welcome to Here's My View. And we're not Chris and Javen, as you can see.
Obviously, we're better looking.
But I'm Juana Malone.
And I'm Tiffany Malone.
And we're just filling in for Chris and Javen. They couldn't be here tonight. We wanted to say we really enjoyed last week's relationship program that they did. It was really, really good.
Yeah, it was.
And we had a follow-up to that. My daughter got engaged Friday.
Yes,
Friday
that
night.
was wonderfully exciting. It was just a
Yes.
really fun weekend, just having everybody come together. That was just amazing. I love to see two Christians get
Yes,
together. It's
yes,
amazing.
it was great.
Yeah.
Just a word of note, this past week we reached over 2,500 subscribers on the Church TV Network.
Go Church
So we're
TV
doing
Network.
great. So make sure you like, comment, share, and most of all, subscribe, please. Right now we've got 2,526 viewers, so we're doing great.
Nice.
Now back to the relationship thing with Chandler and Frank. The Meltons were here, and they stayed at your house,
They
right?
did. We just had a great time. Really nowhere to be,
I
just
know,
kind of got
and
to
that's
fellowship
unusual
and
for us.
Very unusual for us. Just got to hang out, fellowship, spend time with them, and we were all just so happy because we're so happy about Chandler and Frank getting together and the families kind of becoming one. So it's just a really good time.
We had a lot of fun. We did the chocolate walk. Tiffany was on TV.
I was on the news.
Yeah, so it was great. It was fun. So while the Meltons were here, they left us with a commercial. So you might want to look at that and see what you think.
I love the fact that the Church TV Network gives us another outlet versus what's going on with your regular networks or cable television. It just gives you a better vantage point on what life is truly about. It keeps it in perspective, and it keeps it grounded spiritually as well, because that's really what it's all about. The other things out there just get you all off track, all off task, and what your focus should be in life anyway.
So when we have company, we sit down, they turn on the network, and they play show and show and show after show, just giving them a different spiritual outlook on life regarding relationships, how to act, and then just how to grow spiritually. And just the spirit is just completely different, and we can watch it for hours. And when I say hours, literally hours. When people come over, that's what we love to watch. That's what they love to play.
I have the little bell at the, by the subscribe, the notification button. And when I see it, I get excited. I press it all the time. And I just love Church TV Network, honestly. The songs, I love the difference on there, Committed, and then they have all the songs. So on Sunday morning, you just get your mindset and you go to Church TV Network. And I love it so much.
I listen to most of the singing, and I still go back to the reality episodes every now and then because that was my favorite. But I listen to most of the singing every day and all that.
So we want y'all to like,
Comment,
Share.
Subscribe
to the Church TV Network.
Hey, this is Dorian Paul Williams, and you are watching the Church TV Network. Don't turn that channel.
Okay, our topic today is what to wear to church. It's going to be an interesting one. And this was sent in to us by Janet Pugh, better known as Cece.
Oh, okay.
We'll just jump right in.
All right. Cece, you gave us a good one.
Yes, you did.
All righty. So what to wear to church? That's a kind of a hot topic.
It is.
Loaded question. What do you have in mind when you think about what to wear to church? What do you see kind of nowadays versus, maybe when we were younger? What do you think is appropriate to wear? What are your thoughts?
I'm thinking modesty. That's what comes to mind. And a lot of, not to go old school, but, sometimes we think of church dressing up, wearing dresses, and now we're more in the casual realm, and I'm getting used to that, and I'm cool with that. But I think we still need to keep modesty in mind, whether it's pants or whether it's dresses or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that. It when I thought about what the topic was, it brought the scripture to mind that we typically think of when we are talking about dressing is 1 Peter chapter 3. And I'm going to just read it in the New Living Translation. It says, in the same way, you wives must accept the authority of your husbands. Then if some refuse to obey the good news, your godly lives will speak to them without any words. They will be won over by observing your pure and reverent lives. Don't be concerned about the outward beauty of fancy hairstyles, expensive jewelry, or beautiful clothes. You should clothe yourselves instead with the beauty that comes from within, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is so precious to God. This is how the holy women of old made themselves beautiful. They put their trust in God and accepted the authority of their husbands. For instance, Sarah obeyed her husband Abraham and called him her master. You are her daughters when you do what is right without fear of what your husbands might do. So, just kind of reading that in that translation, and thinking about, modesty and what to wear to church, so to speak, I thought about this scripture, and it just kind of kind of stuck out when what kind of stuck out, I guess I would say, is the kind of thesis there is the emphasis, I guess I would say, on what we wear at all.
That's true.
Modesty kind of, in this sense, seems like when the scripture says, don't be concerned about the outward beauty of fancy hairstyles, expensive jewelry, or beautiful clothes, which is just about every commercial you see.
That's true.
It is distinctly
the jewelry,
American.
The clothes,
it's the
makeup.
It's consumerism. It's the materialistic. It's the way of life, really.
That's right.
Here in the society we live in, but he cautions us that as Christians, we are not to be over concerned with or consumed with, just overdoing it. And so modesty in that sense kind of hit me like, oh, whoa, that just blows the top off of.
It really does. What
we've thought.
Yes,
before. I was also thinking about, what you mentioned about modesty in the sense of proper
dress,
proper attire.
Yeah.
And there is proper attire for different places that we choose to go.
That's true. And I think that's missing a little bit. Mm-hmm. We don't know how to dress to the occasion.
Yeah.
We as a whole. But I like what you said about that with the overdoing it, because a lot of things are overdone. It's sad when the person's outward appearance overshadows the inside. Mm-hmm. You should, and like we were saying Sunday, you should be so transparent that you let Christ come through.
Right.
So I thought that was,
I think, that's key. I do think in the traditional sense of the way I was always taught or heard it taught about modesty, meaning immodest in the sense of not improper, in the sense of too revealing.
Exactly. Yes.
As in, that's improper for you to wear as a Christian because it does not display what is traditionally thought of as Christian values and what I think are Christian values. I don't think we really need to be excessively showing.
The low cut, the high, and then we get. I guess some girls think that you can't be in style. You can be in style and be modest.
Yeah.
And we know the world dictates the fashion, and to be honest, we own up to that.
Right.
But we can still do it in a modest way.
I
We
agree.
can still let Christ come through and when we're talking about dressing to the occasion, we have to be careful even when we're casual, like at picnics and these functions. Sometimes modesty goes out the window. We get casual. The shorts are too short, you know, when we're at these picnics and stuff. But we can still be comfortable and still show Christ.
So let me ask something. And I was thinking about this earlier. When we say too short, or we use modest in a sense that maybe you and I understand, it may not be what
understand. That's
Petey and
true.
Kennedy
That's
may not
good.
understand
That's
it to mean the
good.
same thing. And quite honestly, maybe my mom and grandma might disagree with what we say.
Yeah.
So what would you think of is maybe a functional standard definition,
that's
or
good.
is there such a thing? Quite honestly, we would have to be totally honest and say 50 years ago, pants were immodest for women.
You're right.
I mean, before that, corsets would have been
That's right.
You know,
so long dresses
and so it really changes. And we are, like you said, impacted by whatever the styles and fashions are. Seems that modesty is relative in some sense, is what I'm getting to. So,
That's true.
What is that place of?
Because Chris, and Brian alludes to this, Chris Turner gave this example. He says, you know, the world, Christ has drawn a line, saying, you know, in of what, say, in this case, modesty is. And then our thing has gotten further and further away from Christ. So that's a good question. I would think, and modesty also goes back to, believe it or not, I think body styles. You got to know what's modest for you. May not be modest for me.
Now that's right. Now that I don't know if Christ said that like that, but that's the show enough truth.
You gotta know what you can wear. Just because it's in style and in your size does not mean that you can wear it.
No.
So I try to look in the mirror, and ladies, we've all done this. You worn something that you thought looked good, but when you got out, it was too tight.
Or it's moving on you, or it's not staying where, you know.
It's just not good. So I would say, and it's good to have a husband, because Brian said, "Why are you gonna wear that?" You know, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm wearing that." I don't think you ought to wear that. Hurt your feelings a little bit. It's okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What would you say would be a good definition?
When I'm, going back to 1 Peter 3, and so when I'm reading this, especially like before it really even gets into talking about the clothes in verses 1, he's talking about wives accepting the authority of their husband.
Right.
Because if they don't obey the good news, your godly lives will speak to them and they will be won over. Then he tacks the other piece on there because that's a part of that whole theme of your godly life. So it seems to me, I don't want to be guilty of making a law where there is no law. I mean, there's nothing that says white T-shirts are not right.
Exactly right.
Black T-shirts only, or dresses to 1.83 centimeters below your knee, but 1.84 is a cardinal sin. I mean, that's just not what we want to do. But I do think the theme of you should clothe yourselves instead from the beauty that comes within, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is so precious to God, will dictate what you wear on the outside. And I don't think you will ever be on the line. I don't think you'll be over the line.
That's good, yeah.
But I know sometimes we are guilty just as people of always trying to fix the outside, and the inside is a hot mess.
Messed up.
It's a hot mess. We haven't even really addressed the heart of the matter. We haven't addressed why are we trying to wear what we're trying to wear.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's like we need to really be fixing that before we start trying to talk about what's modest in this, because you and I know, and I mean, y'all have been studying, the life of Christ in your class.
Right, yeah.
And we've been studying it on Devo. Jesus was getting all over those people about doing all the right stuff on the outside.
Having the wrong motive, wrong heart.
Yeah, you don't get any points for having a messed up heart and checking the boxes on the outside.
And you got to retrain your mind. It's got to be, as Brian always says, it's a relationship with Jesus. It's what did Jesus say about it? And if we get down to that, like you said, instead of just checking off the boxes, and we were talking the other day, that would keep you from asking. It just goes out the window. Well, is this a sin?
Right.
Is this a sin? Is this a sin? You wouldn't even have to ask that.
Right.
Is this right to wear?
Right.
Is this too tight?
Right.
Is this too short? Is this too low?
Yeah.
If you've got the relationship with Christ, and I like what Javen said on one show with Chris. He said, if I know that something upsets Chris or he wouldn't be pleased about it, if he's my friend, why would I do that?
Right. I agree.
So, yeah, I think that's
that's it's just one of those things that we kind of have to keep in mind at all times. I think we're going to meditate on that a little bit, but we're going to take a quick break, and we are going to hear from a wonderful group, Made New Acapella, one of my favorite
sounds
groups.
Good.
We'll come back and address some of the questions in the chat room when we get back. Don't go anywhere.
Right.
keep on blessing me. Everything that I have, everything that I am, every blessing you see. Oh Lord, God just showered on me. Let it rain on me.
All right, we're back. Thanks for staying with us, guys. We wanted to make sure that we took a moment and address some of the questions and comments that came through the chat room. So we had our very first question just a minute ago. We've got 3 so far.
Yeah.
Taylor Moore asks, she says, "Hey, y'all." Hey, Taylor.
Hey, Taylor.
It's Taylor and Carson. Tell my little baby I said hi. So sweet. All right. I have been asked this question before. What is the standard for modesty, since it could differ from culture to culture, country to country, etc.? Please help me out. And I think we kind of touched on that before, but as we were reading these over the break, Juana and I were laughing about a story that a preacher told from the pulpit, and I'm sure maybe some of you have heard it, but he talks about how we went over a missionary, went over to a tribe in Africa to evangelize, and when he got there, the women were walking around topless, but all of them, everybody, that was their culture, that was the way they did things, and they taught these people that you just don't do that because that is immodest. Right. And they all changed. And then he came back in a couple of years to check on the tribe again. And he had taught them they need to wear shirts. And so everybody got shirts. And when he came back to check on them, they were all wearing the shirts, but they cut out 2 holes in their chest. And it just kind of, it's funny, but it's a powerful point because it kind of speaks to
the culture.
Yeah. Sometimes people aren't meaning what we're meaning when they say what they say, and when they say what's modest and what's not. I've had discussions with folks that are very close to me that I love very dearly, who feel very strongly that you should not have a dress of any kind on that does not touch the floor. They don't really have a problem wearing pants, but as I said before, I've talked to my father-in-law about when he was younger, and they thought pants were mannish.
Yeah, we didn't wear pants to church at all, not even on Wednesday nights. Yeah.
Very masculine thing to see a woman wearing pants at all. And so as you see times change, culture changes, and sometimes I really do feel like we would benefit by stepping back and taking a fresh look and saying, wait a minute, am I bringing all of my years of what I thought was
how I was raised?
Am I bringing all that to everything I see? And is this what I see when I'm seeing what I'm seeing?
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And again, that brings us back to that fundamental question of, okay, what is the is? So
what is truth?
Right.
Yeah. That's right.
What you have any thoughts on that?
I think that as Americans, we are really presumptuous a lot of times. We're going to make our way be the right way. Yeah. And we need to really stick to the Bible, like you said, and not make a law where there's not a law. We've got to, some things are just traditions, and we need to own up to that, and it just is what it is.
I will say this, along that line of thinking, there isn't anything wrong with honoring someone else's tradition for the sake of peace, though.
That's true. That's a good point.
When I moved here, you alluded to that we didn't used to wear pants.
Pants not on Wednesday nights.
Well, we did where I'm from. We wore them on Sunday. We wore them all the time. And it was, the question never even came, there was no such question as, what's the deal about pants? Until I moved here, I didn't even know that was something people...
That was an issue.
Yeah. And when I got here, I was like, okay, I'm totally foreign to this. What is the issue? What are we trying to avoid?
Right.
Because this is what we've done all along. And so it's not at the end of the world for me to wear a skirt if that's going to keep the peace.
True.
And so sometimes,
that's good.
Getting back to that spirit, and we're talking about trying to be more like Christ.
Right.
We need to, even if you have the right to do something, if it's going to make a big hubbub, it's okay to
step back.
To give in.
That's right.
So, it's just some food for thought.
And we've got a message from Chris Murray. Hey, Chris. It says, as a Christian, how should we approach newcomers that come to church and aren't familiar with the importance of modest appearance? That's a great question. I think, in my opinion, we should meet them where they are.
Absolutely.
You know, people, we don't need to run somebody off because they are not dressed the way we think they should be dressed. Yeah. We need to be kind, be loving, and then have a relationship with them, and then build a relationship, and then you'll be able to teach them.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we're just a little too forceful, and it runs people away that otherwise we would, that's a soul.
It is. And at the end of the day, what are we trying to do?
Exactly.
We can sometimes really get way off the mark trying to be right, trying to be the one who knows and you don't.
Right.
And then when we step back and look at what we've done and what we were supposed to have been doing,
it's
not. We're not doing it.
We're off the mark.
And so I think about, we talked about really going back to what did Jesus say? How did Jesus do it? He talked to the woman at the well to the point that the disciples were like, what you doing over there?
What are you doing?
What's up with that? That's not looking right.
Doesn't look good.
But he was about his father's business. He ate with tax collectors and prostitutes. Right. And I don't think anybody would have been asking him, Jesus, I don't think you treated such and such right because of how they were dressed. He seemed to receive everybody where they were, and it made him able to reach them. So there's a lot that we can learn from him, in that aspect. And I think a lot of humility that we could put on, and it would help us answer a lot of those questions. So that's a good one, Chris.
Yep. And then you want to take Lydia's?
Yeah. And Lydia makes a really powerful comment. She says, I believe that modesty starts in your mind. If you get dressed in the morning and your focus is on looking sexy, your mindset is not where it needs to be, and therefore what you put on is probably not going to be what it should be.
That's great.
Well said.
Yes.
Well said. And she brings something up that really gets into a deeper question. Why would your mindset be on that?
Yeah. What are you trying to bring attention to?
And what have you been feeding? Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
Right.
What have you been feeding that your heart is, I need to be looking? What have you been watching? What have you been allowing into? What have you been giving yourself over to? And sometimes we need to, again, we all do, we just need to stop and take a step back and say, okay, God, what is it that you want me to be doing? And we need to start there. It'll point us in the right direction more times than not.
That's a good plug for the Church TV network. What do you need to be feeding yourself?
What do you need to be feeding yourself?
What do you need to be putting in your mind?
It does. And you guys need to take this time and make sure you are subscribed and a regular watcher of the Church TV network. There's so much good, positive content there. And all of us could use more of that.
Yeah, and it's for the family. It's something for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, our time is about up, Tiffany. It was one thing. It went by fast, isn't it? I thought in Proverbs 31, where it's talking about the virtuous woman, it says, even though, and this is paraphrasing, she was dressed in silk and purple, which, that symbolized royalty and everything. It says her clothing was strength and honor, though.
Wow.
Strength and honor was her clothing. So it's all about, as we've been saying, what's on the inside. And if you get the inside right, then it's going to show up on the outside. You won't have to worry about what's modest or, does this look right? Is this too tight?
Right.
Get the inside right, get the heart right, and you got it.
You got it. Y'all have a great night. It's been fun.
Yeah, thanks.
You've been so good and you keep on blessing me. Everything that I have, everything that I am, every blessing you see. Oh Lord, God just showered on me. You let it rain on me.